We're at AOR Baku here today, which I believe is round 7. I always tend to forget at the start of the video for this, but done quite a few races in this season now, and as you can see, our first run here, we triple downshift when normally I go through third gear, but we actually triple downshift into second gear and only put in 1 lap of fuel because normally I was going to do 2 laps, but forgot to put enough fuel in and made that mistake as well. So coming across the line here, we've done a 40.3, which puts us on provisional pole at the moment, which I was very surprised with, and this is going to be my quickest lap in the session now that we're going on to, because as I said, you're able to do 2 runs around here because the one stop is fairly comfortable. As long as you pit on like lap 8 or something like that, then it's normally quite comfortable to the end. But coming into this, most people really don't enjoy this track, from what I've seen out of other people in this league or just people who play this game in general. I really enjoy this track. It's one of my favourites of mine, and I did a video the other day where I did a 39.8, so I knew that time potential was definitely in this lap as we're slightly improving on our lap at the moment. So going purple at this point again, as I said, we're already on provisional pole, nailing this section and doing really well, but since it's the last lap in the session, I've been a little bit cautious in this lap. I felt I could have given, there's definitely some time on the table in this, because the first run, as I said, triple downshift, and we only got to do 1 run at the start of the stint when normally we could be doing 2. So instead of 4 laps, we only had 3 laps in this session, as Flying Finn has actually beaten us to pole position at the moment. So he's done a 40.2, which I was quite surprised with. I thought a lot of people were doing the 40.0s or doing what I did when I went in the 39s earlier in the week. But we're up on our time at the moment, and it's going to be seriously tight, as NOR Evo now has got pole of 40.2 again, so him and Finn are on 40.2, so we've got to beat our championship rival. We're going across the line, and we've done it. We've done a 40.2 as well, and it was luckily a quicker 40.2 than what anyone else did, and we got our, I think that's our first pole position this season, with Cyril Hamilton coming in P3 with a 40.2 as well, so less than a tenth between first and fourth, and I really did need that big time. But now we've got Evo alongside us, 4 lights, 5 lights, trying to get a good start as we on the way, and very good launch, really good launch. But Evo has got an absolutely insane launch, trying to go around the outside, but he doesn't really leave us that much room, because at the time I wasn't really too happy, but I guess it's the racing line. But we both got insane starts. It wasn't the case that I just got a poor getaway. If you look behind us, both of us got absolutely insane launches, but he managed to just get the better one. I thought I was going to be left a little bit of room on the outside, almost went into the wall actually, but if you're the lead car going in the corner, not really too many complaints, as we actually scraped that wall. And I can tell you at the start of this race, coming into this, as I said, I was really confident, but right now, driving this right now, I was really kind of put off, because I know this sounds really stupid, but the weather's actually overcast at the moment, and I use shadows to actually use my reference points, which normally I don't do around most tracks. Normally I have like a brake marker board or something like that, but around here I actually use the shadows quite a bit, and since it's overcast, I was not really feeling confident at this stage. I just didn't feel to grip or dialed into a track. So Evo's slightly getting away at this point, but you can see he's braking very early for this corner, taking curb. So we're going to need a couple of laps to get into this race, because I just wasn't feeling how I did in practice of just really being on it from the word go. And for this race as well, I did practice early in the week, like on the Friday I did quite a lot of practice, but Saturday and Sunday I was actually out kart racing. So I only got back about 40 minutes before this race took place, so I didn't really have that much time, as much time as I would normally have liked on a Sunday to prepare for this. But no real excuses here. It's a really good track for me. Coming down into turn 1 now, navigating this, so I managed to catch back up to Evo. As you can see, the slipstream is pretty powerful, but with that dirty air, we've been pushed wide through that and getting a track warning, which is very difficult around here. But Finn has actually got up into P3, so this race, I was going for the win in this, because I knew if we get up to speed and be consistent and get near or what we were doing in practice, then our pace is super strong in this. And I knew against the wheel around here, I think this is a pretty good track for the controller. There's not really any corners that I'd say are a real disadvantage for the controller in this track, in all honesty. So feeling quite good here. Now we're starting to get up a little bit, so we're going a little bit kind of deep as well, but now we're starting to find our groove, getting a little bit more confidence going through. So going through the castle section, really love it in this game. Some people hate it, but I really enjoy it. Coming off here now, and we're just keeping Evo in touching distance, so as I said, just getting to the rhythm, but don't really want to let him get away too much as we're coming into this corner, taking it normally, and we've actually gone into the wall. And that was bizarre for me because I took that curb how I normally take it, about a wheel on the curb, not mounting it with half the car, but a wheel on the curb, and it just completely spat me out into the wall. And I hadn't even had that in practice or anything after being a lot more aggressive with the curb and that, so that has really damaged our chances of trying to battle for the win in this race, as Evo has now got away because of that, and Finn's got down her inside, because now with a yellow front wing, with a green front wing, with a slight green damage, we know how much that costs us. That normally costs you about 2 to 3 tenths or more per lap. So with a yellow one, I'm expecting it to be at least half a second per lap here, and that means it's going to be incredibly difficult to battle for the win in this race. But we're not going to give up. As always, anything can happen, which we have seen in this league throughout the years and on this season as well. And I didn't really battle Finn when he came past me because I thought there was no real point in that, to be honest, because, you know, this is going to be a risk of more damage or anything as well. And Evo already had a little bit of a gap. I could have maybe battled them to maybe let Evo get away possibly, and to have the worst case scenario of Finn coming second, but you know, there was no real point there. To be honest, it was such a long straight. I just felt it was better to just maximise my race as much as possible, because we've got to do a pit stop now, and there's a group of cars behind us which we managed to break away from at the start of the race, with Jason leading it, and we're going to have a minimum of a 9-second pit stop, so it's going to be like 6 or 7 seconds more than what we'd usually have. But right now, coming through this lap, even though we've got that yellow wing, the pace is still pretty good actually. I was pretty surprised how much we're actually still able to keep up, because now the gloves are off and now we're pushing as hard as we can, not being cautious as we're selecting our repair wing damage just in case it didn't change our front wing. But now we're coming to the end of lap 6 and we've lost touch with the leaders because of the wing, but we're actually pulling away still from the guys behind us, and we're going to come into the pits and we're going to do a really bold strategy, because I still felt we had enough pace to still maybe even somehow battle for the win, or at least beat the Flying Finn, because if I want to win this championship, you've got to take some risks, and this is a risk. In practice, the soft tyre was normally about 3 to 4% per lap going to the end of the race, so that means 20 laps. That's going to be hitting 80% theoretically, but I didn't do the whole race practice, I only did the first stint. Normally you'd want to be pitting lap 9 or 10, because then you'll have good speed and really comfortable to the end. So this is going to be seriously touch and go now. As you can see, the pit stop we had was 9 seconds, but you get a really big undercut on these tyres. But since we were pitting so early, I don't know how big of the undercut's going to be, as Joe's gone on the mediums behind us, but we're going to go on softs because, as I said, I just want to do the maximum possible to just try and beat Finn this race. So because this track was a track where I was kind of expecting myself to battle for the win and definitely try and beat Finn around here more so than other tracks, and we needed to do this as we're coming on to end of lap 9 now. We've come out just ahead of Cyril Hamilton, so if we were on mediums, I doubt we would have got ahead of him, or if we pitted it at lap 7, then I doubt again that we would have come out ahead of him. But now we're coming on to the end of lap 9, and Hamilton, he's got 3 lap fresher tyres in us, I believe, so if he can stay with us, then he's going to have a real shot of battling us at the end, as Matiz hits the wall and almost collects us along with him. So I think he suffered damage, and the pit stop didn't change his wing, which is really unfortunate for him, because I hate to see him at the back, because that's definitely not where he belongs. He's a very talented driver in this game. But coming through here now, starting lap 10, and now we've gone into P2, and I think that's Jason and that group coming out just behind Cyril Hamilton. Evo's out ahead of us, and that means the Flying Finn something has happened to him. I thought we had a drive-through penalty, or I don't know what's happened to him, but he actually hit the wall at the castle section, had to reverse 2 or 3 times to get out of the wall, had damage, and that means he's that dot at the very bottom of our screen. I believe he's the very last dot on the bottom of our screen, what you can see. So I think he's like in 6th place or something at the moment. So that's worked out massively for us. And as I said, if we didn't pit for softs on then lap 6, then I think we could have been behind this group with older tyres as well, and that would have been an absolute nightmare. So it was absolutely crucial that we got that out those laps, and it ends up, it's looking like it's a good decision at the moment. So you can see Evo's already pitted, come out way ahead of us as well. I think we're going to see the gap now. So I think he came out of this lap, so he's had about 4 or 5 lap fresher tyres than us. So yeah, there's no way that we're going to catch him now, because as soon as his tyres start going off, he's going to have a lot more pace. So let's see what the gap is. I think it's 8 seconds, 8.6 seconds if I can read my screen. So yeah, there's no chance to win now. So the best thing we can do is to just secure 2nd place. So there's 11 seconds between me and Evo. I can tell you, for the rest of this race, our pace has been super consistent, and it was a real shame. As you can see, our tyre wear is 68%. On the rear now, and we managed to break out the DRS of Hamilton and Jason, and we've actually managed to pull away, because I think they must have been battling as well. But our pace has been very good, even on the older tyres. It's been seriously good, and we haven't lost that much time to Evo throughout 15 or so laps, or 17 laps. We've only lost like 2 seconds to him, 2 and a bit seconds throughout this whole race. So what could have been, if we didn't have that damage, then I was really confident that we could have battled for the win. Not saying we would have won, but I think we could have had a real good chance, or definitely had the pace to win. But you can see now our tyre wear was on like, I think it's like 78% now going into the last 2 laps, and we've got this gap behind us which we managed to keep to about 3 or 4 seconds this whole race, because I don't think they've been able to overtake each other at all. And now our tyres are starting to go off, because they've got about 3 or 4 lap fresher tyres than us, and now this is where the car's just falling to pieces now. We're on about 80% tyre wear now, risking a puncture as well. And throughout this whole race, ever since the pit stop, all I was trying to do is, you can see how much we're losing the car already. All I was trying to do was just get out of DRS and then just protect my tyres by running and lean off corners, not trying to catch Evo or anything like that, because that's pretty unrealistic of doing it from that distance, but just protecting our tyres really. And that's all I wanted to do, just to make it to the end of the race. And if we could beat Finn, then I would take that as pretty much a win at this stage. So now we've actually got the group behind us starting to catch me up, because our tyres are just really bad. As you'll be able to see, almost having a repeat of what we had on lap 3 here. But if we can get points gained on the Flying Finn this race, then that would be a really good result. The only thing I was annoyed about is just not battling Evo. I was going through this corner, you can see we had to lift off there. A car was starting to actually slide already, but as I said, the only thing I was disappointed was just that mistake on lap 3. But in all honesty, riding that curb like I did, I didn't expect the car to do that at all. If I mounted it half my car on it, then I could understand, but that's the way I take that corner every time, and I haven't actually had that happen to me. So maybe I could have been more cautious, but it's really disappointing, because I would have loved to battle for the win around here, and I really need to take advantage of tracks which are super strong tracks for me, like this one as well. So disappointing, but as I said, it's all about consistency in the championship, and as we can see here, no one has perfect races, not even the Flying Finn. So no one's going to win every race this season. You can see our car is now starting to really slide now, but it's just a case of being consistent, and that's all we need to do here right now, as we're definitely being caught at this point. So we just need to really just keep it on the track. Coming through here now, using lean. See, the car's always wanting to spin out for me, so the gap's gone from about 3 seconds to 1 second in about 1.5 laps. Coming through here now, trying to navigate through this. I'm really trying to keep it on the track now, but I wasn't looking forward to the last section where you come onto the home straight, because you have to go flat out through these corners, and with these tyres, it's going to be very difficult. Being cautious that time through there, don't want to run a risk of getting any more damage. Coming through this now, last braking zone on the track. Coming off this, and it looks like Finn has actually got past Jason on the last corner of the last lap. Come through here, look at that. We're not even on the full throttle. We can see the car wanted to spin into the wall, but he managed to just keep it out of the wall, and we're going to come home in second place, which was a good result in the end considering what happened to us. But also Finn for good recovery drive from him. Both of us really just making mistakes that race, stopping us from battling Evo. But Evo, fair play to him, he kept out of the wall. He was the most consistent person this race, just driving a clean race, and sometimes that's what you need to do, just keep it out of the wall, you're going to have a good result. And I think Surprise Mer actually let past a fine Finn, even though he was in the podium position, which was not annoying but frustrating to see, because his pace has been really good recently. I think he's switched over to the wheel as well, and he has some for like a month or 2 months or so. And the slipstream around here was I don't think there was a slipstream glitch because no one could overtake each other, so I feel he could have held on to a podium position, which would have meant we would have gained more points on Finn. But you know, teammates, that's what you do. I can't really complain too much of that. But if we could have got the win around here, we could have gained even more points, 10 points instead of 3. But the gap has now gone down to 26 points after 7 rounds in this AOR Championship. And I was happy with that race after what we did on the 3rd lap. But coming into the next round, which will be Austria, looking forward to that one because that's another pretty strong track for me. So fairly, well, not really too entertaining race today. Pretty intense at the end, not really too much action, but you're going to have races like that this season. So just trying to keep up this momentum now. Thank you for the support as always, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.
Got no